Welcome into the SIM500 Vidane SuperSpeedway Series. This is round number 7 on the 2020-21 campaign. We are joining you with the heat race. Tim Terry, Brandon Campbell along for the ride with you here this evening. And Brandon, we took 27 from qualifying. These are the 4 that did not make it through qualifying. And actually, I say 4, there's 5 in this race. Eugene Vernon is off the pace in this one. Gail Brooks and Richard Beasley at the top line. Randy Yoakum and the Jamie Dobbs, number 91, to the inside. So welcome into the Vidane booth. This is going to be a fun night.
Yeah, it should be a good time. It's the first time on the broadcast, first time announcing, but I got somebody great to learn from. So,
Mike James left the building earlier, though.
Well, I have somebody almost as good to learn from, I guess.
Yeah, not the Hall of Famer, but pretty darn close. Gail Brooks into the wall, in behind Richard Beasley. Beasley is one of the drivers that has already locked into the playoffs, won a race the last time we covered the SuperSpeedway Series at Daytona. So he doesn't have to, he's got no pressure. He's run all these races so far. He's got to be, I believe, top 30 in the point standings. There's no fear in falling out. So Richard Beasley's here for the party. He's going to go through the middle and past the 8 of Randy Yoakum on the outside, new leader Richard Beasley. We are going to be halfway through this 8-lap heat race this time by. Halfway here, Gail Brooks looking to the inside. Brandon, you've done a lot of racing on this sim. When's the last time you ran the Xfinity cars at Talladega?
Oh, it's been a while. The last time I was even at Talladega was in the TCM race a few weeks ago, so it's definitely different from the short track stuff I run, a lot closer, 30 to 40 cars pushing each other the whole way.
And we're going to see the remaining 27 cars hit the racetrack in just a few moments' time. If you're just joining us, Raymond Rittenauer, the second, put up the quickest time in qualifying, so he will lead us to green. And approximately 10 minutes or so following this heat race, we'll have a quick 5-minute warm-up before we hit the grid for race number 7. We believe this is the second to last race before the chase starts, the playoffs for the Vidane SIM500 SuperSpeedway Series, presented by Rent-A-Racecar. And there goes Richard Beasley, 3 wide to the inside of Randy Yoakum, similar to how he picked up his win a couple of weeks ago at Daytona. Beasley to the top of the board. Randy Yoakum falls to second, and here comes the 91 of Jamie Dobbs to the inside. Dobbs will pick up second, and now the 71 of Gail Brooks tries to look over those 3 in front of him for a 4-car heat race. Brandon, this is pretty fun. The 8-car Randy Yoakum gets into the back of the 10 of Richard Beasley, gives him a shove down the back straightaway. But for a 4-car heat, this isn't too bad of a race.
No, it's not bad at all. And maybe it's one of those things they're just testing, who they can push, who they want to push them. Because that's a big thing here, but shaping up to be a pretty good night.
Field a little light because of the Daytona 24 running on iRacing this weekend. The first group, or the first split, already ran. The second one still running as we run this race. So some of the drivers have their sights on road racing here this weekend. And what we have tonight, we still have some really good drivers here. The likes of former winners E.J. O'Rourke, Gabe Butler is here. Jarrett Bulliard, your reigning champion in this SuperSpeedway Series, is here looking to pick up a victory and get himself firmly into that playoff chase. As the 8 of Randy Yoakum almost won a race here a couple of weeks ago, Brandon, trying to get into the chase by winning a show. Obviously, he can't win the heat race and get into the chase. Would be nice, though. But Randy getting some track time along with Richard Beasley. They'll come by this time and see the white flag. Who do you think's going to take this?
I don't know. I know Richard's your buddy, so I'm going to have to put my money on him.
Well, he doesn't win a whole lot on Vidane TV. Won the race at Daytona a couple of weeks ago, so trying to win one more and trying to get the tide ride out in front. Randy Yoakum to the inside, and they'll drag race down the back straightaway. Behind them, trying to build a run, is Jamie Dobbs and Gail Brooks. Down the back for the final time, Beasley gets that run to the outside. Oh, look at this run for the 91. Here comes Jamie Dobbs, 3 wide through the middle. Beasley and Yoakum have nothing for them, but Gail Brooks will hook up with the 10 on the outside for one more final push to try to win this heat race. Final time at a corner number 4 in this 8-lap heat to determine the final starting positions, and here comes Beasley. Yoakum makes contact down to the inside, up into Gale Brooks. Richard Beasley has the run around the outside, and the Tide Ride is going to pick up the win in the heat race. So congratulations to Richard Beasley. Beasley, Dobbs, Yoakum, Brooks, and Vernon are your finishing order. So now we'll set up for a 5-minute warm-up session before we go racing for 55 laps. Obviously, super speedways, we've seen them here before, but what would be your strategy going into a 55-lap feature here, Brandon?
Well, it's always tough because, there's 3 lines you can run, top, bottom, and middle. And, it's Talladega, so there's always the big one. So you never know if you want to start in the front or if you want to sit in the back and wait, but it's always different at Talladega.
So we're going to have a quick happy hour session, 5 minutes in length, and then we will go racing here this evening. We got some familiar drivers, as we mentioned. We got some new drivers. Richard Drake is making his SIM500 debut. He'll start back in position number 16 here this evening. Mitchell Hunt is back after missing the last round. The 77 car will be rolling off in position number 5. You look through the field. Chad Coleman, always a threat when it comes to SIM500 competition, whether it's here, Trans-Service Cup Series, go on down the list. He is always a threat to win one of these races, so he will start in position about halfway through the field in 12th. Paul Strickland Jr., what's your thoughts so far here before we roll into what is going to be a exciting 2DRUNK Esports 149?
Yeah, great to have 2DRUNK Esports on top of the race sponsorship board here this evening for the SIM500 Vidane SuperSpeedway Series, and it's getting into crunch time. Believe we've got one more race after this to determine the chase. We're going to take the 8 winners, throw them in that championship bracket, as well as the 2 top drivers in the points without victories. And we're going to send those 10 drivers in 2 races for the next round, break it down to 4 drivers, and we're going to have a fatal 4-way for the final championship race at iRacing SuperSpeedway. Really looking forward to it, and we've made mention many, many times before throughout this season that Rent-A-Racecar is back on board with the championship ride, as we're calling it. Championship night's going to be at Stafford Motor Speedway, June 11th, Friday night. We're going to take Jarrett Bolliard, last season's champion, won the free rental for the street stock at Rent-A-Racecar's home at Stafford Speedway, and he unfortunately couldn't make it to the racetrack with the pandemic travel restrictions and all that stuff. So we're going to have the champion versus champion, this season's champion versus last season's champion. We're going to do a great big ceremony with the championship belts, and we're going to be hanging out. And the very next night, the SRX Series making their debut at Stafford Motor Speedway as well. And hearing tell that Tony Stewart announced that every single track that SRX Series is going to be visiting, they're going to bring an extra car, and they're going to have one of the hometown heroes jump in and run the race as well. So I'd definitely like to throw my name in that hat.
Yeah, that would be a pretty neat deal. Looking forward to seeing who they throw in those ringer cars and the local car as well. Should be a fun weekend with the Rent-A-Racecar folks. So if you're looking to rent a race car or even join in, head over and check out the folks at Rent-A-Racecar, and mark that date on your calendar. You might be able to see some of these guys race and meet some of the guys in person. You're going to be there with the belt, right? Paul, you're going to be there with the belt, right?
Some things never change with these microphones and the mute buttons. Yes, I will be there with the championship belt. We're going to be awarding this season's red strap belt to this season's champion. Jarrett Bolliard's driving in. He's making his championship belt sit in the passenger seat. His girlfriend's actually going to be sitting in the back, so priorities there, but pretty cool to have a Vidane racing night at the racetrack, and we're going to be camping out and grilling and having some cold adult beverages too. But I do want to give a shout out to Rent-A-Racecar. Paul Verricchio Jr. down at the shop today posted the Rocket Killer, Rent-A-Racecar's new secret weapon, and it's new and improved, and I believe that's going to be one of the quicker rental cars, and some fantastic body work done by hand by the guys down at Rent-A-Racecar. So really looking forward to the 2021 season. I'm looking forward to getting back to the racetrack, and I'm looking forward to hanging out with some Vidane racing regulars.
Now, I was trying to pull Richard Beasley up here, but you talk about technology. I can't get my Discord to work to pull Richard Beasley up here. We were going to discuss that heat race victory, but I think we'll leave his head as I don't want to say inflated or deflated as it is, but he will roll off. Our heat race winner will roll off 28th here this evening, right? Oh, there he is, Richard Beasley. Let's. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Congratulations on your heat race victory. How big was that?
Great. It's always great to win one of these things, you know?
So you and Randy Yoakum raced at Daytona. That was a part of your victory. So did you learn anything there from that little 4-car fun run?
You know, not really. I mean, we're going to be in a big pack out there unless we have some, you know, a bunch of cautions and there's only 4 or 5 of us left at the end. Then, but other than that, you know, it's just going to be a free for all.
No pressure. You're locked into the chase. But if you can win another one and escape and kind of prevent somebody from winning their way in, are you going to do it tonight? Is it a win all mentality, or what's your take going into this before we send you to the car?
Oh yeah, we're going to go out here and just have fun and try to win another one of these.
There you go. Good luck. Have fun. That's Richard Beasley, our heat race winner. He will roll off in position at number 28 here this evening as we get ready to go racing for 55 laps around the Talladega Superspeedway field, beginning to grid. And we'll roll down your lineup. You'll see it on your screen with Raymond Rittenauer, the second, Gabe Butler, your front row. Daniel Falkingham, the 39, with Aaron Smith, the second, on the outside. Mitchell Hunt, Rich Jett, veteran of this SIM500 Superspeedway Series. In 6, Jose Gonzalez, E.J. O'Rourke, Brian Macklin, and Eric Laurie, your top 10. You'll see the rest of the lineup roll across on your ticker. But now we get ready to see a 55-lap race. Brandon, do you see any names here that are familiar? Do you see anybody that we should watch tonight?
Well, I already took my luck on Richard Beasley, so I don't know if I can bet on him again. But I think I'm going to put my money on the second Richard of Richard Drake.
There you go. Well, if you bet Richard tonight, or Rich, you've got 3 in the field because you got Rich Jett in position number 6. So not a bad idea. Field rolls off behind the iRacing pace car, and we'll get ready to go racing this evening for 55 laps. And got to try to lock yourself into this one. Gabe Butler, Stefan Marinick, E.J. O'Rourke, Mitchell Hunt, Kevin D. Brown, and Richard Beasley. 6 drivers locked in via wins already in this 6-race season so far. Kevin Brown is leading the points. He's obviously got to win. So Wes Hogue, Aaron Smith, Bobby Wetzel, Chad Cole, top 5 in points, including Kevin Brown. And Raymond Rittenauer, the second among those drivers that are in contention to try to point their way in to this round of 10, which will be 3 races, and then the season finale in the middle of February. So some time to work if you're those guys in the top 5 in points, but it's super speedway racing. You don't want to rest on your laurels, and you don't want to get caught up in the big one. There are no quick repairs here. So if you do something wrong, or you get turned, or a wrong bump draft, it's going to make your night even longer, especially if you're trying to run for points and pick up every position that you can. Daniel Falkingham did not grid. He fell out of the server. He is coming back in now. So the third place driver not with us on the grid will move Mitchell Hunt up to position number 3. Brandon, final thoughts before we go green. What are you thinking here before we send these guys off?
It's going to be a long race, 55 laps. Just keep yourself clean, stay out of the big one, and hopefully you'll be there at the end.
Rittenauer and Butler, your front row. Butler, our winner at the season opener at Daytona, or back in the start of this thing. It'll be Mitchell Hunt, the former eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series driver, to the inside of row and number 2, with Aaron Smith to the outside. Aaron Smith looking to get enough points here tonight to kind of give him a good cushion heading into the regular season finale, scheduled tentatively to be next week. Pace car in the 2DRUNK ESPORTS 149, set to go green. Raymond Rittenauer II, going to see the green flag first, waiting for the green flag to fly. There it is. We are underway for 55 laps on Vidane TV for the SIM500 Vidane Superspeedway Series. And Gabe Butler trying to get that advantage on the outside with Smith to his back bumper, the 77 of Mitchell Hunt there. And Smith falls out of line. And that 70 car may be dropping to the back of the field. And Brandon, that might not be a bad strategy here early.
No, I've always used that strategy too, especially because, in the end, you'll make your way up. You find the right drafting partner. So hopefully it works out for him.
30 car of Brian Macklin moves his way up to the outside line. Second car on the outside, your Trans Service Cup Series Rookie of the Year from one season ago will give a little push to the 26 of Jose Gonzalez. Gonzalez trying to make that outside line work, and Kevin Brown has made his way to the back bumper of the 77 of Mitchell Hunt. They'll work through the trioval for the first time. One lap completed. It's going to go to Rittenauer as he will lead the field across the stripe, but Mitchell Hunt on his back bumper, the 93 of Kevin Brown behind him. And here comes that outside line. Gabe Butler has found some drafting help. He's third in line now to Brian Macklin and Jose Gonzalez. Down the back straightaway, side-by-side racing. We got one driver poking himself out of line. That's the 36 car of Rich Jett, and it looks like he's going backwards. There's no third groove right now. Everybody side-by-side for the most part, working their way back. Rittenauer we're going to come by and lead one more lap. Mitchell Hunt in the 77 in position number 2, and then that outside line starting to gain some steam. There's E.J. O'Rourke in the 41 on the outside, and in behind him, starting to gain some momentum. That's the 72 car of Eric Laurie. Stefan Marinick, I believe, may be on the outside as well in the 21 car. It looks like, Brandon, that outside line pulling even. Looks like they found some momentum.
Yeah, it looks like it. A few more cars in the back are adding on, so if you get enough big enough train, it'll push right by the bottom. And I mean, even later in the race, you'll see the third groove come in, and you'll have 3-wide racing the whole time.
The 39 car of Daniel Falkingham has made his way onto the racetrack. The first rate bait, number 39, is in behind the field right now in 32nd position. I believe he may be scored on the lead lap right now, but there's a driver that came in looking at, I think it's 10th in points coming into this evening's racing action, so needs some help in the next 2 races to try to get up there. And Brandon, how hard is it to, if you're a race car driver, how hard is it to point race on a super speedway?
Yeah, well, it's tough because, you know, it's one of those places where anybody can win and anybody can lose. It just matters where you are in the middle of things. And, you know, maybe his strategy's not too bad either. He'll stay back far enough from everybody and out of the big one, hopefully.
You can see him right ahead of the leaders. That one little spot up there is Daniel Falkingham. He's about 6 seconds or so ahead of this pack, and the pack is starting to gain some outside line momentum. Here comes the 26 of Jose Gonzalez, try to pick up the lead, and now we have a third line to the outside. It's E.J. O'Rourke and Chad Coleman on the outside. Car number 38 trying to pick his way a little bit closer towards the front of the field. He'll be vying for a championship, as will E.J. here in a couple of weeks. And there's Stefan Marinick. There's another driver that's picked up a win so far. That outside line beginning to get some momentum as they come across the stripe this time, and they will they'll complete lap number 4 of 55, and looks like the third groove is starting to form. But Brandon, do we think we're going to see more drivers hit that outside line?
I think when it comes down to crunch time, you know, you got to make your way up there somehow, and it'll end up forming eventually. I probably wouldn't try it this early, but you never know what can happen.
Joey Katina falls out of line in the 14 car, so he will fall to the back of this field. Richard Beasley going around on the outside, the 25. Finding right in behind, that's Kevin Fries. And there's the 10, our heat race winner, Richard Beasley, drafting with the 63 of Octavio Silveira. Daniel Falkingham is going to go a lap down to the field, and with no third line, he'll fall into line somewhere here, and he is the only car that has scored his 1 lap down. The next car to go a lap down is Randy Yoakum, and he's actually a half lap behind, so he might end up being 1 lap down here. We might have a fight for the free pass position. There is the 33 on your screen. That is Tyler Hallahan, and he's trying to find a drafting partner there and get a little bit closer towards the front of the field, and that is the... I don't want... Brandon, it's not the second pack per se, because this pack is still 30 cars strong, but this is kind of in the back half of the pack where there's not really that sense of urgency right now. That might be the best strategy for these guys.
Yeah, exactly. You know, let the guys up front wear their stuff up. Maybe a little beating and banging happens, and then at the end, you're through with a clean race car.
The 41 of E.J. O'Rourke is still leading that outside line, that third groove on the upside. Stefan Marinick and Matt Egan. Here comes Brian Macklin, teammate to E.J. O'Rourke. The number 30 car going to try to take it to the outside and take it to the lead. Rittenauer has led since we dropped the green flag 7 laps ago, and now he's going to start to feel some pressure, and it might be from Kevin Brown. Kevin Brown to the outside in the 93 car as they continue to race. And Kevin Brown nearly got turned for his efforts there with a bump draft from Jose Gonzalez. But, Brandon, it looks like it worked. The 93 is going to try to go to the lead in the middle groove, but now he's joined on the outside by Brian Macklin, who's going to win this battle back to the line.
It's looking like the middle lane's running pretty well. The outside seems to fall off, so I think it's going to be between the middle and the inside line.
We'll see who ends up leading this lap. 7 laps completed this time by Kevin Brown, trying to go to the top of the scoring pylon, and he will do so. The 93 car will lead that lap, but here comes Brian Macklin. Here comes EJ O'Rourke tucked up tight together. Those drivers have worked together in the past on the same team, and the Gary Mercer trucking number 41 trying to push the number 30 of Brian Macklin to the lead, but they have lost their drafting help from behind. The 20 falls at a line of Wes Hogue, so he's going to fall back to the rear of this pack, and might not be a bad strategy right now with the way these drivers are racing. Former point leader is Wes Hogue, and he is the top driver in points that does not have a win so far this season, so trying to protect that as well as trying to pick up those valuable points that he needs. The extreme outside line loses a little bit of momentum, loses a couple of cars. Matt Egan goes back to the inside, and looks like Kevin Brown going to lead this lap by one more time, and they'll go down into corner number 1. 8 laps completed in this one, and quickly clicking away. 55-lap event. They're going to have to pit at least once, so there's a little bit of strategy to this, but I believe these guys can go, and Paul can correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's about 40 laps on fuel, maybe a little bit less, so at least one pit stop. Question is going to be, when do you make it, as Jose Gonzalez goes to the outside line to try to pick up the lead. Kevin Brown in the middle losing momentum. And it looks like, Brandon, those top 2 lines are starting to lose a little bit of momentum as they regroup.
Yeah, it seems like the inside line's working well together. You know, they must be together quite often, because you can see they're pushing, not much bobbles, and they're maintaining speed. But a few more cars added to the other lines, and I think they'll keep up with them.
And we have a little bit of a shorter field here this week compared to the 40-something that we usually have try to qualify for these races. But I think we have the quality of race cars here, because you see it in those off shots. 30 cars still in this lead draft, plus the Daniel Falkingham machine. Plus we're going to have Randy Yoakum join the field here. As you can see him just ahead of the leaders. They are still 3 wide, middle of the pack. Kevin Brown able to get to the inside, able to get ahead of Raymond Rittenauer. The first time we've seen a line change in front of the 87, so that'll move the 93 of Kevin Brown to sole possession of the lead. And as I say that, there goes the 87 to the upside. They are going to put a lap on the 8 of Randy Yoakum. Yoakum falling back up in front. The 87 of Rittenauer. We're going to go to the lead, and I think the only person that didn't benefit from all that is Jose Gonzalez, because Brandon, the 26 car, got caught behind the 8. He's going to lose about a half dozen positions.
Yeah, when you're inside these cars on the sim, if you're nose to bumper with somebody, you can't see anything in front of that car. So it could have been a moment of where the other cars dipped down and, oh, we have contact. We've
got trouble. It's a 72 car around to bring out the yellow flag for the first time, and that was a lot of the field. There's a couple of cars coming back out of the racetrack. Bobby Wetzel in the 9, pulling back Wesley Hogue. Joey Catina's got damage. Jamie Dobbs got through that. Matt Zaccaro. We'll go to Paul Strickland with the Raise Energy Drink replay. And Paul, that was a fairly big wreck.
Yeah, big wreck, big things happening here. We're taking a look at the chopper view here for the Raise Energy Drink Instant Replay. And as always, be sure to check out repsports.com. Promo code VidaneTV gets you 15% off at checkout. But we're going to take a look at the 72 car, the green car. Eric Laurie gets a little bit of a bump. Wasn't quite square there from the 02. There you can see the NOS machine of Chad Coleman got just a little bit of a piece of it, but not too bad. We're going to back it up just a little bit because this wreck is a lot wider than it looks. A lot of drivers going for the same piece of real estate. So we're going to take a look here at Wesley Hogue's view, and you can see those 2 cars skating on down the bottom. And Wes does a really good job slowing up. Here you see the 14 Joey Gattina, big-time damage in the back of that race car. But looks like Wes Hogue made it through clean. That's what he needs to do here. And I actually spoke with Wes before the race. Wanted to get out there and he wanted to win. He's usually very conservative throughout these races, tries to keep his nose clean, but hasn't had the best of luck. So told me this before the race, before qualifying even happened. Wants to get out there and try and win here tonight.
And currently 205 points, and we talked about this, documented this off the top of the show as we expect these cars down onto pit road. 2 races left in the season. We don't expect 2 different winners, but we could have 2 different winners. So at least 2 drivers getting in through points. 1 more driver could potentially work their way in if we have a repeat winner, as most of this field comes down into pit road. Wes Hogue would be the first leading driver that does not have a win. And these guys use that Cup Series standings. But, Brandon, if you look at the third-place driver without a win, Bobby Wetzel, is only 20 points back. So, especially on a super speedway, you can gain those points as much as you can lose them. So I can see why Wesley Hogue wants to win here.
Yeah, for sure. At super speedways, like I said, anybody can win, anybody can lose, and it's a gamble, right? If you want to be in the front or the back, and you never know where you'll end up.
Field will work its way off of pit road, led by Raymond Rittenauer, the second. And I think for the most part, the 2 cars that are on the racetrack are, Tyler Hallahan is your leader. The 33 car stayed out on the racetrack. He will lead this field. The 8 of Randy Yoakum, I believe, will try to get the wave around or the free pass, one of the 2. 2 drivers 1 lap down before that caution flag flew. And Randy Yoakum still on the racetrack. Daniel Falkingham returning to the racetrack. He actually may have been the free pass car. So Randy Yoakum hoping Tyler Hallahan pits so he can get the wave around. But Hallahan still on the racetrack. We'll see if he decides to come down to pit road this next time by. But Brandon, great to see Tyler Hallahan out here and leading some laps.
Yeah, for sure. I know he's on here quite often. He enjoys racing, so it's nice to see him out front. A good local boy.
And he told me earlier that he didn't run. He spotted for his teammate Greg Snellgrove and their team during the Daytona 24, their session. They ran the session that began Friday night. And he did about 18 hours of spotting. He's got a couple of energy drinks into him. I'm sure he's got a couple of snacks by the sim rig, and he's all ready to go. So we'll see if he decides to come down pit road here. If not, I mean, tires aren't a huge factor here, so he may be able to stay out and lead some laps and mix it up with those guys up in front, but he'll be a little short on fuel. Tyler Hallahan is with us. So Tyler, you got a copy?
How you doing?
Not bad. Are you staying out here? Are you coming down pit road?
Oh, I'm going to stay out for a bit longer. I got a feeling there's going to be another wreck, so I just want to be at the front just in case, because I think I just barely got through that last one.
So how far can you go on fuel here? It's only a one-stop race, right, if you stretch it out?
Yeah, if I stretch it out, I can just do it on one stop. I can probably go another 20 laps, I would say, under green flag conditions.
We just documented. You've been busy here the last 24 hours or so. How are you feeling after the Daytona 24?
Oh, I feel pretty good. I was just helping out a team called Cyclone Racing. Just had my buddy Greg, Steve, Cody, and Corey, all drivers, and a couple of us were spotting, and I got done spotting about an hour before this race started. I did about 18 hours of spotting, so I figured I'd come have some fun at Dagger tonight.
So you're off tomorrow, right?
Oh, yeah, off tomorrow. I might even go work on the race car tomorrow. Who knows?
Well, there you go. Lights are out atop that pace car, getting ready to go green. You've won some cup races, some league races, but what would it mean to win a SIM500 SuperSpeedway Series race?
Oh, it'd be great. It'd be awesome. There's a great field of drivers, fast drivers every week comes to this race. And I think it would be just a really good accomplishment to be able to win one.
Well, we wish you all the best tonight. Go get them.
Thank you.
That's Tyler Hallahan, driver of the number 33 from Elmsdale, Nova Scotia, and he'll line up alongside the pole sitter for this race, Raymond Rittenauer II, who's led the most laps so far through the first 13 completed. Gabe Butler, Stefan Marinick, and Kevin Brown, your top 5. Brian Macklin, Jose Gonzalez, E.J. O'Rourke, Richard Beasley all the way from 28th, and Bobby Wetzel complete your top 10. And that number 9 car is one of those drivers, as we mentioned, the third driver in points without a win. To really guarantee yourself a spot in the round of 10, you need to win with 2 races to go, including this one this evening. He's going to have to get up on the wheel. He's got Chad Cole 3 points in behind, but I don't see Chad Cole on the racetrack, so that is going to help Bobby Wetzel and Wes Hogue and Aaron Smith. But your former leader of this race, Brandon, Raymond Rittenauer II, comes in 5th in points of the drivers without a victory. So Raymond looking pretty good right now to gain some points here, but it's only lap 14.
Yeah, for sure. And as you know from the TCM special events last year, you needed to win a race to make it in. And I had to wait till the very last race. So you know you're stressing every single race, hoping you get that win. And then with only 2 races to go in this series, it's crunch time.
And of course, racing for the championship belt and racing for that Rent-A-Racecar ride at the Stafford Motor Speedway. So there's plenty on the line. Tyler Hallahan goes. Green flag flies now, and we're back underway. So Hallahan gets the jump. Rittenauer in the 87 is going to be in second, and that outside line is going to get away from that inside line a little bit. So we're going to have a battle up here with Brian Macklin. Macklin's going to get to the back bumper of the 87. The bad side about that jump, Brandon, is right here because the field is going to get a run on Tyler Hallahan, and we'll see what Tyler can do and see where he can slot in.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to be alone on your track, and when getting a jump like that, the other cars will have the momentum catching you, and then you're kind of in a tough spot.
It might be an advantage on a short track or maybe on an intermediate, but SuperSpeedway with the way the pack is definitely not going to help a whole lot, but Tyler's still up here. He's got Brian Macklin on the back bumper, the Trans Service Cup Series Rookie of the Year from last year, to the back of Hallahan. Here comes Kevin Brown down 3 lanes. Kevin Brown is going to lead this lap by the looks of it. Now we're going to get that run to the outside. E.J. O'Rourke all by himself. Kevin Brown left him out to dry, and the Gary Mercer Trucking, number 41, going to fall back. And here comes Marinick with the 87 of Rittenauer to the top spot. Marinick chased him all the way down to the inside. Rittenauer followed him down there, and now those top 2 trying to break away as much as you can here at Talladega. The 93 of Kevin Brown has that help from the 33 of Hallahan. Drifting up to the outside goes the 93. He will get there, and Bobby Wetzel going to give him a shove and try to get Kevin Brown back to the front of this field. Rittenauer going to lead this field at a corner number 4, Brandon, as we will come by this time to complete lap number 16.
Yeah, the wild thing about super speedways is you can go from 1st to 10th back to 1st all within a lap. So it doesn't matter where you're at the start of the lap or the middle of the lap. It all matters where you're at the end.
So we had that big wreck. We had 30 cars in the lead draft that were all tucked up tight together, and now we're starting to see a little bit of separation. We've seen it on a couple of these wide-angle shots that Showtime Paul Strickland's been able to give us, but that outside line, there's a great shot of it right there. So we got about 12 cars or so in the lead draft. Actually, 16, I believe, is the number. Back to EJ as Brian Macklin goes to the inside to try to take the lead from Bobby Wetzel, and then we have a kind of clear, defined, I don't even want to say second pack, but you can kind of see them back there, single file, kind of logging some laps back there. So it's not really a clear, defined second pack, Brandon, but it's almost a conga line from about 17th all the way back to 29th now.
Yeah, for sure. I think they're just trying to make sure they stay in the draft, because once you lose the draft at Talladega, you're pretty much gone with the win. So I think they're just trying to stay clean and at least stay in the draft.
And I could be wrong, but I think a lot of these guys are still going to have to come down pit road potentially one more time if this thing does stay green when it comes to fuel. If they did pack it in, they might have an advantage. Rittenauer to the inside. There's Richard Drake on your screen, the 21, making his SIM500 debut, and he's back there with Daniel Falkingham in the 71 of Gale Brooks. So trying to log some laps here and get some experience. Currently running in P24, and still plenty of laps to work around here. Up in front continues to be the number 30 of Brian Macklin, the 93 of Kevin Brown to the outside. Richard Beasley hung out on the outside, and where did he come from? Wes Hogue is back in the mix as well, the 20 car. To the outside line, Jose Gonzalez going to go to the inside, and there's 2 of your drivers, Brandon. It compounds that point situation with 2 races to go. The first and third place driver in points without a win are running nose to tail right now, trying to help each other get to the front.
Yeah, it's insane, because this late in the season, and then you're still pushing to make the chase. So it'll be interesting to see at the end of this race and at the end of next week who actually makes it and who misses out.
A point here or a point there definitely going to help or hurt the cause of some of these drivers. And Wes Hogue is up there along with Bobby Wetzel, kind of stuck in between as Richard Beasley nearly turned E.J. O'Rourke for about 10th spot right there. They were at the back end of that line, and now they're going to try to form one on the outside, but I don't think it's going to help, and I don't think E.J. is probably going to be happy with Richard Beasley, but they're going to try to form something up to get to the outside. I was about to say, Brandon, that you got Chad Coleman up in front of the 9 of Bobby Wetzel. You got in behind the 20 of Wes Hogue. You've got EJ, and there goes Wes to the middle groove, and it looks like EJ is going to follow him through, so they shuffle Bobby Wetzel out of line, and they've got the 38 of Chad Coleman up there battling for the top spot. And even though they're not really teammates, Chad Coleman, EJ O'Rourke, and Richard Beasley kind of satellite teammates with each other. Chad and Richard work together. EJ kind of helps out when he can, when he's not working with his own team. So there's a little bit of a connection there. Wes Hogue doesn't really have a connection with the 2 behind him and the 1 in front of him. So you would think he might try to make that calculated move to try to get out of that line. But the inside line place to be right now, Wes Hogue trying to find a way around the NOS Energy Drink number 38.
Yeah, the thing about super speedways is obviously you like your preferred partner to push and to be pushed. But in a big pack like this, you just find wherever you can go and you stick with it till your teammates get to you.
Tyler Hallahan still up in the mix as well to the inside of Richard Beasley as they go side by side. Brian Macklin, E.J. O'Rourke, and Chad Coleman shuffled out of line. The NOS Energy Drink number 38 going to fall back throughout this pack. Stefan Marinick in the 24 to the outside of Kevin Brown as they will go side by side for the top spot. The 20 of Wes Hogue, Brian Macklin side by side. They'll come across the stripe this time. It'll be close for who leads that lap. Stefan Marinick going to get the nod, and he'll lead lap number 21, so creeping closer towards the halfway point in this Vidane SIM500 Super Speedway Series race. And Kevin Brown trying to pick up a second win and effectively trying to block somebody from winning and making their way into the chase. I don't want to say easy way, Brandon, because winning a race in this series isn't easy, but the hard way would be to try to, I guess, point your way in. Either way, Kevin Brown's trying to stop somebody from going to victory lane tonight and punching their ticket directly into the chase.
Yeah, for sure. And again, super speedways, it's kind of a gamble because you never know who you're pushing or who's pushing you, and you just got to be there at the end.
Wes Hogue is making that middle groove work, and it for some of these moves, it almost looks like there's no middle groove there, but Wes Hogue has found his way to the front of the field with E.J. O'Rourke giving him a push, and in behind, Richard Beasley giving E.J. O'Rourke the shove, and it might shove E.J. O'Rourke to the top spot here. Outside line doing its work. Bobby Wetzel tucked up in there behind him as well. Vandervoorst, first time we've seen Ralph all night long. He's up here now in the top 5 to the outside, and that's the great thing about the Super Speedway Series. We get to talk about drivers we don't usually talk about on a regular basis, but Ralph Vandervoorst to the outside, fighting for a top 5 spot here, Brandon.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know many of these guys, but from what I can tell, they're all really great sim drivers. They're holding their lines, they're pushing each other, and it's a great race to watch.
E.J. O'Rourke going to come across the line and lead his first lap of the evening. Former B-Fix champion, former champion over here in the Grand National Division at SIM500. I believe he's won a Midnight Thunder Division as well, and I know he's going to correct me on what championships he's won, but I know he's won a few over here. So great to see E.J. O'Rourke lead this field. Oh, the 10 car of Richard Beasley nearly got turned by Wes Hogue, and Wes Hogue is the odd man out. Here comes the 9 to the inside. Bobby Wetzel, Vandervoorst, the 39 of Daniel Falkingham. Here's Joey Katina. He's got a little bit of that damage fixed, but it looked a little bit worse for wear when we threw the green flag, but looks like Joey Katina's got enough in that car to still hang with the lead draft. Brandon, I'm kind of impressed with that 14.
Yeah, for sure, because in super speedways, any type of damage, it'll affect you a lot because the aerodynamics is so important here. So any wall tap, any contact with another car, they can raise your temps, lose your aerodynamic advantage, and in the end, it just doesn't help you at all.
You can kind of see it on that shot there. The right rear is kind of crinkled in just a little bit, but he's still able to keep up with this pack. So keep an eye on Joey Katina in the 14 car. He's due for a good run here in this series as we continue to work around. Lap number 25 being worked on the board. This lead draft that that was about 16 cars earlier has kind of accordion back to 27 cars, all the way back to Gale Brooks. Mitchell Hunt is off the pace. Randy Yoakum is 1 lap down. Eric Lorry's 1 down. Jimmy North about to fall a 2nd lap down. And Matt Egan is the only driver retired from this race. He will finish tonight in P32. They'll come across the line, and our most recent winner in this series, Richard Beasley, will lead his first lap. He won a heat race earlier tonight. He won the last round that we ran at Daytona, and now he's at the top of the board here. Here comes Daniel Falkingham, though, giving a push to Bobby Wetzel. 2 of those drivers at points that have to win to try to get their way into the chase, working the outside, and here comes Bobby Wetzel trying to take it away from Richard Beasley.
Yeah, Richard Beasley earlier, he had a tough heat race, a big group of cars, so it's nice to see him coming all the way from the back to the front.
Had to start 28th in this race and worked his way up. Tyler Hallahan started 27. He was the last driver to qualify in on time, as Jimmy North goes 1 more lap down. The 33 of Tyler Hallahan still in this pack. To the inside of the 21 is Stefan Marinik, and in behind him he's got Chad Coleman, and looks like the 30 to the outside line is Bobby Wetzel. Will take that outside line and go to the lead and lead a lap here. And Kevin Brown giving a little push to the tide ride. Richard Beasley is coming back towards the front of the field. I know he's got the cardboard cutouts cheering him on this evening down the back straightaway. And Beasley will go to that top spot. And there goes Kevin Brown to the upside. E.J. O'Rourke will take that little run to the back bumper of the number 10. He'll bring Tyler Hallahan and Chad Coleman along with him as Richard Beasley tries to hold off Kevin Brown to the outside.
And for a new viewer, you wouldn't understand. If you're pushing somebody and you're doing well, why would you move up? But the temps on these cars raise, and eventually your motor will blow up. So if you see cars moving out to get in front of other cars, it's usually just to cool the car down.
Kind of saw Bobby Wetzel kind of poke the nose halfway out on the 93 there. You kind of see it there going down into corner number 1 on Kevin Brown, trying to get a little bit of air in Kevin Brown to the inside, and looks like a couple of cars got a little sideways there. E.J. O'Rourke tried to get down to that inside, and maybe not by choice. Tyler Hallahan in behind him. Chad Coleman occupying that inside line. You ride on board with Bobby Wetzel. That is the second car on the outside as he tries to give a little shove to Kevin Brown down into corner number 3. And the gyro cam. Great shot there by Paul Strickland Jr. as they're going to come up on 1 more lap car, Brandon. I believe that might be Mitchell Hunt in the 77. And he's got a lot of damage to that race car. Tough break for Mitchell Hunt. The good news is that the 77 has been to victory lane once this season, so he's already locked in when it comes to the chase. So Mitchell can breathe a little sigh of relief if there's any consolation from tonight.
Yeah, for sure. He doesn't have the stress of, needing to win a race at the end of the season. And again, even with any damage, you usually can't keep up with the draft no matter how many cars are in front or behind you. So I feel like that's the issue in his case tonight. It's just a tough break.
Beasley getting the push from O'Rourke. The 93 of Kevin Brown getting pushed by Bobby Wetzel. And the 39 of Daniel Falkingham in the mix, the driver from Maine, trying to get up here and pick himself up a victory. Tyler Hallahan to the inside as they'll go side by side at a corner number 4 past the halfway point into this race. Will complete lap number 29 this time by. You'd have to believe that Tyler Hallahan's car getting a little light on the fuel load, and as he said, he's hoping for another caution, and this SuperSpeedway Racing, he might end up getting one eventually, but the lead pack is now 22 cars strong. There's a pack that's fallen off the pace a little bit. Jose Gonzalez, Raymond Rittenauer, some of those drivers maybe using that and trying to stay away from what could happen up here. Is got the third line forming, the 14 of Joey Katina leading that up, and here goes the 41 down to the inside, Richard Drake, the 8 of Randy Yoakum. Almost made a little contact there down into corner number 3, but Randy Yoakum, there's a name we haven't talked about a whole lot this evening as he tries to suck up to the back bumper of the 39. But as I say that, Tyler Hallahan's car, I know he mentioned, came across the voice chat there the last time by, so he might be getting close to having to come down pit road.
Yeah, I think we were lap 13, the last caution came out, and he said he had another 20 or so in, so we're coming up to that window now, and we'll see if he gets the caution he was looking for or not.
So if they can go 33 laps or so, and we had that caution on 14, it's going to be tight for everybody else too. So we'll see how this all breaks down and all transpires. But Tyler Hallahan hoping for a caution in the next lap or so. And it got close up there. The 39 of Daniel Falkingham on the back bumper of the 9 of Bobby Wetzel got a little bit sideways in the draft. The 33 of Tyler Hallahan going to stay out on the racetrack this time by. And it looks like Kevin Brown going to pick up the lead again and lead one more lap with E.J. O'Rourke to his back bumper. Daniel Falkingham taking a look to the inside, but nothing doing there with the 9 of Bobby Wetzel. I think he tried to open that door like Wes Hogue did a little bit earlier, but I don't think Bobby's going to take the bait here.
No, I don't think so either. There's still 24-ish laps to go, so I think everybody's still a little conservative and making sure they have something here at the end.
Keep your car in one piece and have something to fight for at the end as we come by this time through corners number 3 and 4. Randy Yoakum, we mentioned him a couple of laps ago, in front of Ralph Vandervorst. So outside line getting a couple of new contenders. There goes Tyler Hallahan to the inside. So the 33 car will come to pit road. He was the only driver to stay out on that last caution flag. So hoping for a caution didn't pan out for him, but he got some laps up here in the top 5 and in the top 10. So hats off to him. And I think the only thing he can hope for is this thing to go green the rest of the way. And, hope for some of these drivers to potentially run out of fuel that might not have got the thing packed up tight and might not be in conserve mode here.
Yeah, because we, as Tyler said, he had another 20-ish laps. So this, assuming that all the drivers filled up completely, they'd still have to stop. And we know sometimes you're trying to get that track position and whatnot, so a lot of them may not have even filled the whole way and may have to pit sooner.
And you can conserve a little bit in the draft if you're hanging around at the back, but if you can't make it, you may as well go and you may as well push. And new contender in the top 10, how about Richard Drake in the 21 car has made his way up into the top 10, making his SIM500 debut. Finished top 5 earlier tonight on Vidane TV at the Nashville Mini Oval in Street Stock. So making his SuperSpeedway Series debut and up here in the top 10, doing a great job so far in what would be the Laker News Kinetic Auto number 21 to the inside of Daniel Falkingham and to the back bumper of Chad Coleman, Richard Beasley, and E.J. O'Rourke. He's found some good company to hang out with up front.
Yeah, for sure. And Richard's one of the best guys to race with around here. He'll always be clean, and he just loves racing. So it's nice to see him have a good run in his first race, and hopefully he can gain a few more spots. I did bet on him, so.
Well, he almost had to dodge in front of him. Bobby Wetzel's going backwards in the 9 car to the extreme outside. Daniel Falkingham, the 93 at Kevin Brown, now on the outside line, and that almost got a little bit chopped up. E.J. O'Rourke is going to lead lap number 34, but Kevin Brown, Daniel Falkingham, and looks like Randy Yoakum, Ralph Vandervorst, and looks like Thomas O'Leary's made his way back up here as well in the 08 car. Had a little incident earlier, but now back up into the top 10. Almost won himself a race at Daytona a couple of weeks ago. Great supporter of this Vidane SuperSpeedway Series, and up in the top 10 getting himself some TV time. Great to see.
Yeah, for sure. And again, these look like some of the best drivers you could ever have in a group at a SuperSpeedway. They're all giving each other space. They're all dropping in, It just looks like a lot of fun.
Giving each other a lot of respect, and that's the great thing about some of these. It doesn't matter what series that you run. If you run with a group of drivers for long enough, you get to pick up their tendencies. You get to pick up some of their, I don't want to say weaknesses, as Richard Beasley nearly turned E.J. O'Rourke into the wall. You get to feel out those drivers, and I guess, Brandon, it's comfortability and trying to feel out what you can do as Tyler Hallahan goes one lap down in the 33 car. If you do it week in and week out, you kind of build a notebook and maybe a little bit of respect too.
Yeah, exactly, and especially with super speedways, because there's certain people you want pushed and certain. Oh, we have the leader on the apron,
and that's Randy Yoakum. Yoakum around O'Leary, and Richard Drake's going to get a piece of it as well. That'll draw the caution, the second of the evening, and that's going to take out some good contenders up front. We saw Thomas, earlier with a little bit of damage. He's going to have a little more damage to his race car. Richard Drake's tore up, and it all started up there with Paul. What Brandon mentioned, a little bit of a bobble with Daniel Falkingham, Kevin Brown, those guys up front, and then it kind of trickled back. What happened in this Rays Energy replay?
Pulling up the tapes now, going to take a look at some of these top 5 drivers that were involved, or where it kind of started from, and we'll hit the play button, take a peek here. You can see Beasley all over the back bumper of the 41, kind of pushes the 41 a little bit too hard up into Falkingham, and into the 93 as well, the Brown machine, but then the 8 cars get into contact with each other. That's Randy Yoakum there, and you can see lots of drivers involved. Some drivers are able to get all the way down on the apron to avoid the wreck there. You see Joey Gattina getting around scot-free. It looks like a lot of damage from an earlier event, but a lot of drivers involved here. Looked like a little bit of a bumper car type deal, but we've seen damaged cars move up towards the front of the pack earlier on tonight with Joey Gattina in that 14 car. So not the end of the night so far, and we'll see what we got for the last couple of laps.
And we expect these drivers down on the pit road. I'm trying to look back here, Brandon, and see who's going to get the free pass award. I think Mitchell Hunt was involved in that caution flag. I don't think Tyler Hallahan got any incident points in that, so Tyler may actually get the free pass through all of this, but we'll double check with what the sim does. Field is down onto pit road, and final stop of the evening. How quick do you want to be here to try to get your track position?
Yeah, I think you want to be as quick as you can. And actually, it's looking like Mitchell and Tyler will both get their laps back because they'll get the free pass from the pace car. So it looks like they'll actually both be back on the lead lap.
There goes Tyler around the pace car. Mitchell Hunt will be in front of the leaders behind the pace car, and the field will race its way off of pit road. Raymond Rittenauer stayed out on the racetrack. He's going to lead this field. Kevin Freeze, Jose Gonzalez, Gabe Butler, and the 26 of Jose Gonzalez, along with Jimmy North, who I believe is 2 laps down right now. So, and then Daniel Falkingham and the rest of the field. So we documented that Raymond, the 25 car of Kevin Freeze, Gabe Butler, were among those that kind of hung out about 30 seconds or so behind the leaders. Is that enough to save the fuel, do you think, that they need to get to the end, Brandon?
I'm not too sure. I'm not very familiar with the super speedways, but we talked about it earlier. That could have been their strategy. Stay in the draft, save some fuel, and they're hoping, I think, they have enough till the end.
I think the only thing that I would be concerned with would be a green-white checker finish, especially if you're anywhere somewhat close on fuel. But we'll see how this all plays out. Daniel Falkingham will be the first driver off of pit road. I do believe that came down for service. Kevin Brown and a couple of others are moving around there. EJ O'Rourke. So Joey Gattina is going to be up here in the top 10 when we throw the green flag. Richard Beasley will be up there as well. So we've got some really familiar names going to try to fill some gaps and fill some holes and pick up the victory here this evening. And we got some drivers still on pit road repairing damage after that wreck, including Randy Yoakum in car number 8. Octavio Silveira in the 63s on pit road. Vander Vorst is on pit road. Thomas O'Leary is also on pit road. So those drivers getting major damage repaired. Not the first time Thomas O'Leary's been down there tonight. He's the pit crew is earning their keep. They've had a busy night so far down there. And oh, look who we found. We'll see if we can get a hold of the point leader or the top driver in this series without a win. Wes Hogue, you got a copy?
10-4, I got you.
How nerve-wracking has it been out there for you this evening? Because you've been at the front, you've kind of shuffled your way back. You've been up and down. How's your night been so far?
Pretty strategic here, Tim. I took a second to kind of work up through the pack there, see what I could do with the middle, see if I could create that middle groove as I've done in the past to see if I could still do it, and I can with these cars. Just you got to trust the guys around you. And, Tim, as you know, it's easy to get shuffled back here in super speedways as I did, and it's much harder to get back to the front. So going to see what we can do here, Tim. Got a workout in front of us, but, man, it's gut check time. It's checkers or wreckers now in this part of the season, man. If you want to lock your way in, you only got one other race to come up, and you don't want to have to wait for that other race. You don't want to have to rely on points. Even though I believe I'm the first one in points right now without a win, you don't want to have to rely on that. So don't expect him to see me holding back.
I was going to say, you said checkers to wreckers, and it kind of answers my question, but how aggressive do you get here in the remaining less than 20 laps?
Balls to the wall, Tim. You do what you got to do. You still try to be smart about it. You're not trying to be the part of the big one, but you're also trying not to get collected in it. Tim, as you know, it's really a mind game because you don't want to be a part of it. You want to lean back, but you still got to go for the win. And, nice guys finish last, and you can't be the nice guy here, brother. You got to go for it.
Wouldn't expect any different. Go get him tonight.
Yes.
That's Wes Hogue. And Brandon, he's been involved in the last couple of Vidane SuperSpeedway Series. We've raced for the belt the last couple of seasons, and he's come up short. And Paul, correct me if I'm wrong, Wes has finished second the last couple of years?
Finished second back in 2014 to Ian Plash. Finished second to Jared Bolliard in the 2019-2020 season. Currently leading the points, first driver without a win. So Wes Hogue, probably one of the most hungry drivers in this field.
So the bridesmaid, never a bride, trying to get that win. He will roll from 16th place when we take the green flag here. The leader is Kevin Freese in the 25, and or to the outside, he is the outside pole sitter, Raymond Rittenauer, the driver who sat on the pole earlier this evening, trying to get a little bit of strategy and get himself a victory here, and do the same thing that Wes Hogue just mentioned. Try to lock yourself in and not have to worry about counting points at the end. He's got Gabe Butler to his back bumper, and Gabe Butler is the driver that has won a race already. Here comes Jose Gonzalez to the inside, and Kevin Freese, Brandon, kind of forced his way down there in front of the 26.
Yeah, exactly, which especially right now, as it looks like the front 10 or so are all single file. So maybe just trying to get in the group and maybe try to pull away from the back half.
So I guess the big question is, we're going to come to 15 laps to go this time. I think with Wes Hogue kind of mentioning the more aggressive way of racing here, might not mean we've seen the respect level. We've only seen 2 cautions here so far tonight. Are we done seeing cautions? Do we race this green to the end, or are we going to see another caution here?
Well, we've seen big-ish wrecks, but I don't think we've seen the big one yet.
It might still be to come. Joey Gattina through the middle. He's got E.J. O'Rourke and Kevin Brown in front of him, and I say the middle because there's 2 drivers on the outside trying to make the extreme outside work. It's Richard Beasley and Brian Macklin 3 wide as the 87 of Rittenauer holds that top spot. Gabe Butler pushing him, and Kevin Brown has E.J. O'Rourke and the 14 of Joey Gattina to his back bumper, and there is a name we haven't seen all night long. Look at that bright yellow car in behind. It's Aaron Smith II. Started up in position number 4, has now worked his way back into a top 10 spot. One of those drivers is trying to point his way in. Haven't said his name a whole lot this evening. Pulled out a line on the back straightaway on lap number 1, and now he's back up here in the top 10. Brandon, I guess it's time to go.
Yeah, I guess so, and it's looking so far like his strategy's done well for him. He has no damage, a clean car, and he's back up into the top 10.
Richard Beasley has had enough of the outside line, and it might not be that. He's got nobody else to help him. Zaccardo going to fall back into line. The 91, Jamie Dom's going to pass the 10 of Richard Beasley. Wes Hogue is going to make the pass as well, and Wes Hogue going to try to make that middle groove work. There's that middle groove from the 20. Wes is getting aggressive. He's going to put the 91 of Jamie Doms to the outside and kick the 91 to the curb a little bit here. You're right on board with the number 20.
Yeah, and you gotta wonder when that outside line, the far outside line, will actually come in. Because when it comes down to it, there's only one winner, and we know there's 4 or 5 guys that really need this win.
You know, Wes talked about being aggressive and balls to the wall. He goes to the inside now on the number 60. We saw him get into the 60 and give him that little bit of a bump draft in the middle of the corner. But now he's getting up here with some of these drivers that, you see on a regular basis here at SIM500. A guy like Chad Coleman in front of him. You've got 12 laps to go. You're running in 10th. You've got some familiar faces around you. Is it time to get that aggressive right now?
Well, I think it's time to start thinking about it. I probably wouldn't be pushing too much harder than I need to because, again, you never know when the big one's actually going to come. But I think it's time to start, closing the gap, and you want to make sure you're in that big group.
And it looks like, by the way, some of these bump drafts are going. They're trying to work on it. The 93 of Kevin Brown, the 41 of E.J. O'Rourke nearly had a moment in 3 and 4 that last time by. The 14 and 26 in behind it, Joey Gattina, and the 26 of Jose Gonzalez, Brian Macklin, Richard Beasley. Familiar names that we see near the front of the field in these Vidane SuperSpeedway races, trying to make their way, flex their muscle up here. Matthew Baker is also up here in the 5. Haven't called his name all night long. He qualified in, was 23rd in qualifying, and now making his way into what could be a run to the checkered flag to try to take away a victory. Wes Hogue making that middle groove work. He's dispatched Richard Beasley to the outside, and Beasley has found Brian Macklin to the outside line as they continue to try to work that extreme outside. Brandon, it hasn't come in yet, but it looks like if it does, Macklin and Beasley are going to be the two to start it.
Yeah, they've been up there quite often lately, so I think they're hoping somebody else comes up with them and a couple more cars to the train, and then it's 3 wide the whole time.
Joey Gattina wants to race for the belt. He goes to the outside line and tries to bring that third groove to the front. Richard Beasley falls back a little bit. The 63 will go a lap down, and Beasley has lost touch with those two in front of him, so he'll have to regroup to try to mount a charge in the late laps. Mitchell Hunt goes another lap down in the 77, or he'll be back to 1 lap down. And that outside line's only got 2. It might have 3 now. Wes Hogue will look to the outside, but Chad Coleman is going to be there. Rittenauer has led the most laps here this evening. He's going to lead 1 more by the looks of it here as they come out of corner number 4 with Gabe Butler papered to his back bumper. The third line starting to form here. They'll come by this time, Brandon, and see 10 laps remaining.
Yeah, now you got to think it's pretty much go time. You want to be near the front. You want to be there at the end, and we see 3 cars. Richard's closing in, so we have a good train going on the top, and they're hoping to keep pushing.
Wes Hogue has positioned himself to that middle groove, trying to find a way around. And, you know, if he tries to do the strategy that he did before, Brandon, and tries to get to the inside, force that car to the outside, they'd be 4 wide. That outside groove, though, has found momentum. There goes the 60 as Accardo to the outside. Tries to give a little bit of help, and Joey Gattina almost got a little bit free up there. He's going to back up that outside line, going to back up Brian Macklin and Chad Coleman. The inside line place to be through the corner. They've got a boatload of momentum. The 87 of Rittenauer going to try to lead 1 more lap, but now that outside line, albeit a little bit disconnected, trying to get its way back up to the front. Not going to do it here on lap number 46. It's going to belong to Rittenauer. And now the outside line's kind of got to regroup a little bit. Richard Beasley has gone to the second groove, and Joey Gattina kind of backing them up a little bit again.
Yeah, the tough part about the outside, I mean, at all super speedways, there's really no room for error. But if you have one little mistake on the outside, you're in the wall, and then the whole line's in there, and who knows what else gets collected.
Mitchell Hunt has called it a night in the 77. He is retired from this 2DRUNK Esports 149. The 87 of Rittenauer gets that run back to the inside line. Gabe Butler there as well, and E.J. O'Rourke giving a shove to Kevin Brown to try to bring Kevin Brown back up to the front. Keep in mind, those two that are in the middle groove, Brown and O'Rourke, have won a race so far this season. Wes Hogan behind him has not. The 87 of Rittenauer has not. The one of Gabe Butler has been to victory lane. There goes the 93 to the inside. Got enough of a run to put Kevin Brown to the front. And now E.J. O'Rourke in the second groove, and Rittenauer a little bit sideways, a little bit free behind the 93 of Kevin Brown. And there's a car we haven't seen all night long. Jared Bolliard in the 79, your defending champion of this SIM500 Vidane SuperSpeedway Series, is now to the back bumper of his teammate Wes Hogue. We haven't called Jared's name all night long, Brandon, and he's up in the top 5.
I think he's another one of those guys that played the strategy, you know, stay in the back, stay away from all the mess, and it's working out for him. He's pushing the middle lane now, and they seem to be moving.
So Jared Bolliard and Wes Hogue, 2 teammates. They have E.J. O'Rourke ahead of them. If you're working together, if you're those two, when do you make the move? Because you're up front. You have a little bit of track position. When do you make the move, and where do you make the move here in the remaining 6 laps?
Yeah, that's the tough thing. The inside line and the middle line seem to be sticking close enough to each other that you can't really make a move in the middle. And if you're going to the outside, you got to hope somebody comes with you. So it's a tough call to make, but we'll see what they decide to do.
Chad Coleman trying to get that outside line to work with the 30 of Brian Macklin, the 10 of Richard Beasley. They've kind of dispatched the 14 of Joey Gattina to the second groove, and a little bit free up there. A couple of cars dancing. There goes the 20. Wow, of Wes Hogue directly in front of that 38 of Chad Coleman. A pucker moment, I'm sure, for the driver from Georgia as he gives a push to the 20 of Wes Hogue. And they're going to leave Wes Hogue hanging out to dry.
Yeah, that's the tough thing. You never want to see that happen when you're leading a pack and then everybody dips down, but they were 4 wide for a couple moments there.
He's got enough laps to get up there, but if I'm Wes Hogue, I might want to hang back a little bit here because I have a feeling they're about to wreck down the back straightaway. There's a lot of cars that are juking and jiving here in the middle of this pack. Jared Bulliard in the 79, the teammate of Wes Hogue to the back bumper, the 41 of E.J. O'Rourke, and Rittenauer and Kevin Brown following each other up the racetrack, and it's going to leave Rittenauer to the outside line, and it might push him to the lead because E.J. O'Rourke has no other opportunity but to push the 87. Bulliard and Coleman nearly had a moment there in the middle of the pack, and here comes Chad Coleman with help from the 30 of Brian Macklin. 3 wide for position number 3. This lap going to be led by Rittenauer, 5 laps to go.
As Wes said at the end, it's time to get aggressive, and I think now's about the time. 5 to go. You want to be at the front.
And Wes is still a part of this picture. He's the Oreo car, 5th in line in the middle groove, but he's got some ways, or he's got some work to do to get up here. It's not impossible, but he's going to have to get up on the horse and hope those right lines and those right lanes end up moving. Rittenauer and Kevin Brown in front of this field. E.J. O'Rourke trying to get back to victory lane, as is Gabe Butler, as is Kevin Brown, as is Chad Coleman to the extreme outside. But they are running out of time. They'll come by this time with 4 laps to go, and here comes Kevin Brown to the outside. One car in the grass going down into pit road. We stay green. Kevin Brown not going to lead that lap. Going to be Raymond Rittenauer. And look at the move. E.J. O'Rourke, what a shove.
Yeah, it's time. It's getting intense now. 3 laps to go. You're going to see a lot happen.
Down the back straightaway, the 87 of Rittenauer has that advantage. E.J. O'Rourke, though, giving that push to the 93 of Kevin Brown. Jared Bulliard there. Joey Gattina to the outside in that extreme outside line, being helped once again by Chad Coleman and Brian Macklin. You can see it starting to work up to the outside as Joey Gattina thinking about going to the outside. He's not going to. This time going to stay in that middle groove. They come up at a corner number 4. It's going to be the 87 of Rittenauer coming across the line and leading this lap. 52 laps completed this time by, so only 3 laps to go. And there goes Gattina to the outside, looking to give a little push from Chad Coleman, and they've lost Brian Macklin on the outside, so only 2 cars in the extreme outside.
Yeah, I think you're going to need more than 2 cars with how close this racing is and how much they're pushing. I think you're going to need a lot more than 2 cars to make that line work.
Who goes to the outside to try to help them? Kevin Brown is going to give E.J. O'Rourke a little bit of a pull to try to take away that lead. Does Kevin Brown get enough momentum to get to the inside? He will not. It'll be Raymond Rittenauer poking the nose back in there, side by side for that top spot. They'll come by this time and complete 53, so they'll have 2 laps remaining. Gattina trying to get that extreme outside line to work, but him and Chad Coleman are the only 2 that are tucked up tight together. Sticks in the air, 2 laps to go.
This is where it starts to get intense. 2 to go. If we don't see the big one this lap, I think we're going to have to see it next lap.
And if they get to the white flag, the race will be official and they'll race it back to the checkered flag. So if something is going to happen, if you're a guy like Wes Hogue, you kind of need it to happen and need it to happen now for you to have a shot at this one. Speaking of shots, E.J. O'Rourke gave one to the 93 of Kevin Brown. Middle groove going to try to take away the lead. Rittenauer going to fight back on the inside, and Joey Gattina has help from Coleman, Macklin, and Zaccardo. They're going to come out of 4. Little contact for Bulliard in the 79. They maintain it. It's still going to be 3 wide. It was almost 4 for a moment. Are they going to get to the white flag? I believe they will here. White flag taken by Rittenauer. Final lap.
All 3 groups seem to be pretty consistent in length, so any group can win this now in the last lap.
Side by side stacked 3 deep. 3 wide stacked 3 deep for that top spot. The 93 of Kevin Brown to the middle groove. Joey Gattina going to get the run to the outside. Chad Coleman and Brian Macklin give the shove. Is that going to be enough? Raymond Rittenauer has led the most laps here. He leads that inside line, but is he going to lead the most important lap? working through 3 and 4 for the final time in this 2DRUNK Esports 149. Almost a little contact. Who is going to be the one to pop the cork? Gabe Butler sideways. Kevin Brown up the racetrack. Going to kill the momentum. Raymond Rittenauer is going to probably be the only car to get through this. The 87 car is going to come across the line, and he is going to go to victory lane and lock himself into the chase. The question is, who finished second and third? It's going to be Chad Coleman and E.J. O'Rourke coming home with second and third. Jamie Dobbs. Didn't talk about Jamie Dobbs all night long, and that deal is going to finish fourth. And Wes Hogue comes home with fifth. I know, Brandon, it wasn't the win that he wanted to, but with Rittenauer winning and taking one more piece out of that equation, Wes Hogue just gave himself a big advantage going into that final race.
Yeah, that was intense, and that's one of those things where on the last lap anything goes, and you see just a little contact, and Wes Hogue stayed pretty clean through the whole thing, coming through the grass, so that was intense.
You get a little bit of a look of what happened in behind us. Richard Beasley finishes sixth, Kevin Fries, Brian Macklin, Rich Jett, didn't talk about Rich all night long, finishes in ninth, and Joey Gattina, after everything that happened, came home in position number 10. Aaron Smith, Kevin Brown, Max Zaccardo, Jarrett Bulliard, Gail Brooks, Tyler Hallahan, Daniel Falkingham, Stefan Marinick, Jose Gonzalez, Bobby Wetzel, and Eugene Vernon, your top 20. As it was exciting at the end. Kevin Brown, Joey Gattina was the push that started it, and then everybody else trying to do their own thing, getting across the line. It was enough momentum to kill it for everybody else in behind. And E.J. O'Rourke and Chad Coleman through this. They are sideways in the grass, like the whole field wrecked except for the leader. Chad Coleman was able to get enough momentum to take second, and E.J. O'Rourke enough to take third.
Yeah, that's one of those times where luckily you were in the front, you made it through, but I think pretty much everybody else behind them didn't make it through very well.
So we'll catch up, and there's E.J. O'Rourke coming across the line and getting into Wes Hogue, and coming home with position number 3, and you can see the 91 just barely squeaked by there, enough to take position number 4 away. So if it comes down to 1 point for Wes Hogue, that might be one of those moments you just kind of look back and try to figure out what might have been, because he was about to take potentially position number 3 away from E.J. O'Rourke, but O'Rourke coming across the stripe there. So we'll catch up with our top 3 in just a moment here on Vidane TV in the 2DRUNK Esports 149, but it's Raymond Rittenauer, the second, coming away with the victory. He'll lock himself into the chase, and it'll be one less driver to get in on points. Raymond came in 5th place in the point standings when it came to the drivers without a victory. Chad Cole was not here this evening, so it should help Wes Hogue and potentially Aaron Smith, Bobby Wetzel. But Brandon, your first time here on Vidane TV, we're going to give you the winning interview with Ray Rittenauer. He's in. Let's talk to him.
Oh, don't give me all this pressure.
Sure we are. Go talk to our winner.
Ray, can you hear us?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Great run tonight, man. What did you think about it at the end?
That was crazy up until the end there. I was just hoping that my teammate didn't blow up behind me, and but he got caught up in the wreck, unfortunately. But luckily, we still pulled it off.
With Talladega being so unpredictable, and you're always worrying about the big one, what decisions or what factors made you decide to stay out on that last caution?
We had already pitted, so we knew if a caution came out, then we were going to be shuffled up front because everybody else had to pit. So that's why we went early, because we knew there was probably going to be a caution. So luckily, it paid off.
Awesome. So after a big win tonight, who would you like to thank on the car?
My sponsor, Lucky Dogs, everybody on the Boot Knocker team here, and you guys for putting on a heck of a broadcast.
Awesome. Thanks, man. Congratulations on the win, and go celebrate.
The pressure is off for Ray, but 2 drivers that finished in behind him, second and third. We'll start with Chad Coleman. Chad, final lap. What did you see out of your windshield through all of that mess?
I spent most of that run right there with Macklin pushing me, and I knew you just, it's like going back to, the old school Daytona and Talladega, back before we could really pass. You had to pinch the shit out of people. And I spent 5 or 6 laps coaching Joey and telling him he was too high. He was still too high. Finally, about 3 to go, he figured out what I was telling him, and we were rolling. It's just nature of the beast right now. With the way the draft model is with this car, you have to pinch like hell. And right there at the end, it was just the factor of that kind of racing. Guys got to bouncing off each other, and I was able to hang on to it and shoot the gap, but we still come up one spot short. And I've been wrecked in about every one of these, so we ain't got a shot at it. Getting in on points, we got to win a race, and that's what we were trying to do.
Yeah, I looked down. I thought you would want to race, so you came close, finished in position number 2. I think there's 1 week left here before we make this chase cutoff. So we talked to Wes Hogue earlier, and he was talking about being aggressive. So how aggressive do you get next week?
It's trophy or steering wheel.
That's the easy response. You've raced a lot of these SuperSpeedway races. You've raced a lot of these Vidane Series races back in the day. How intense has it been this season to try to win and you're in for this playoff format?
It's actually been really fun. I mean, the racing, it does get intense, especially with cars like this, to where you basically can just run up and knock the crap out of people. And there's not a whole lot of, movement to it. Now, with the 87 car and the no-plate stuff, it was more of a driver's deal. You had to drive them. But with these, you just pretty much just frail the hell out of people and keep your foot in it.
And I'll ask you as well, because the Trans Service Cup Series is coming to Vidane TV beginning in February. The Cup plan's going well. What's the outlook for the Cup Series?
Yeah, we're going to run that. Michael Sharp will be the team owner. We got a couple of good sponsors for that deal with Tap Out Tuning and True Nation Realty. That all ties in with Sharpie there. We're talking right now, trying to see if we can maybe find me a teammate, and we may end up having to partnering with another team and see if we can't pull myself and another driver that I'm really good friends with together. And but yeah, we're looking forward to the start of that. That should be a really competitive season. A lot of good drivers running Monday nights now.
And we're looking forward to covering it on Monday evenings. Who makes it happen for this team? Who's on this race car on Saturday nights? Who do you want to thank?
Oh, this one tonight. Race car is all Trey's. Trey painted it. He done a great job like he always does. It's a good-looking car. And just thank Joey and everybody for the lead. Thanks to Paul and Vidane for sponsoring this deal. Also with Paul with the broadcast. And we'll go back and listen to No Dukes About It and a bunch of stories.
And you get to see Richard Beasley win a 4-car heat race. How excited are you to see that?
Yeah, I was coaching Beasley too. I was like, go high, go low. Now let him back by.
He needs all the coaching he can get. Congratulations on your run tonight.
Yeah, thanks, man.
That's Chad Coleman coming home in second. And wow, EJ O'Rourke finishes third. I'm going to take this. This has been a long while since we've done this. EJ, what did you see out of your windshield? Because you and Wes had a moment after the wreck. What'd you see on that last lap?
First of all, to be interviewed by the voice of iRacing, Tim. I am very thrilled. This means a lot to me. This is huge. What I saw was, I told Macklin 5 to go, you better pull your belts tight because we're going to end up in the grandstand. So that was insane. I'm happy for Ray. Ray's a good friend. He's a nice guy. He's real fast at these plate tracks. He always just seems to come up short right at the end, and I'm glad to see him get a big win. But this number 41 Gary Mercer Trucking, Papa Sauer, Tim's Quarter Motorsports, Personal Comfort Chevrolet was real fast, and happy to get it up front.
Now, I wasn't here for your win earlier in the season, so with one race to go, obviously, has it changed the way you've raced here the last couple of weeks, knowing that you've been locked in to race for the belt?
Absolutely. It's with the win under my belt, it's huge. You can kind of go in these races and end up on your roof, or you could end up in victory lane. So pretty happy to see how the series has grown, and a lot of really good people in here. And I'm telling you, not many people could do what we did those last 10 laps. I mean, we were 3 or 4 wide, bouncing off each other, and no one wrecked until the last second there.
Now, I don't want to put the cart ahead of the horse, but I would be remiss to ask about the belt's cool. You get to win this series, you get the belt, but you're from New England. How cool would it be to strap in behind the wheel of a street stock at Stafford Motor Speedway? And try to live out your racing dream. How cool would it be to get that prize from Rent-A-Racecar?
Well, Tim Terry, I tell you what, Rent-A-Racecar, that's a huge deal they've done. And if I were to win it, I don't even know what to say because Stafford Motor Speedway is one of my home tracks up here in New England. And to even bring that to attention, Tony Stewart's SRX race is also there that weekend. So if Tony and I could be on the same racetrack in the same weekend on July 4th weekend, I don't think you could really play a better, book at the end of that.
Now, I also heard that if you win this, Justin Fuller is coming up the road, and that is a huge, big, huge deal, right?
That is the biggest deal you can ever ask for. I mean, it's just it'll be huge. I mean, to see him, at that racetrack, and I don't really know. I think we're either going to run last or we're going to win that in that street stock. Hopefully we can win.
I know you got some great sponsors on this race car. Gary Mercer Trucking's helped you out for a long while. Who's on this race car? Who's on the team? Who'd you like to thank?
Well, let's see. On this race car is Gary Mercer Trucking. I'm going to thank Gary and Brandon Mercer for always sponsoring me. And I'm going to give a shout out to the WCI Parts. They've been with me a long time. Trans Service, new sponsor, Personal Comfort. Got to thank Tim's Corner Motorsports. Eric Canadian up there. We got to thank Papa's Hardware. I think Vidane, SIM500, Kick-Ass Beef Jerky. We're going to thank everyone on the Chevrolet. It's really, really big. Actually, I didn't even win. What am I saying? I finished third. I'm really happy.
It's like a win, though, isn't it?
Anytime we can get interviewed by Tim Terry, you're winning in life.
Before we let you go, I asked Chad the same question. How are your Cup Series preparations coming along for the Trans Service Cup Series?
Scott Sensel and I have partnered and together. We're going to run the 41 Personal Comfort Chevrolet. So hopefully we can get the chase and do really good and win another race.
Third place finish. How much partying are you going to do tonight?
I got a stink coming up in the Rolex 24, buddy. Not too much excitement.
Oh, well, there you go. At least you're going to keep sharp. Congratulations on the night and good luck at Daytona. That's EJ O'Rourke, our third place finisher here this evening. Brandon Campbell, final thoughts. Your first run here with SIM500. What'd you think of this thing?
Oh, that was insane. That was one of the best races I've ever seen at Talladega. And, usually I'm up here with you pressing the black flag button, but it was fun to call the race tonight.
Yeah, a couple of short track guys calling this thing. And congratulations to Ray Rittenauer. He is in the race for the belt, the round of 10. And Paul, it comes down to one race next week where somebody is going to race their way in potentially if they haven't won a race yet. Two drivers are going to point their way in, and there's going to be a bunch of drivers that are disappointed going home without a win, but they're still going to play spoiler in that round of 10. What are your thoughts leaving tonight at Talladega?
Yeah, it's a big fight field coming up. We got one more race here to set the championship 10. It's going to be the 8 different winners of the series, or any repeat winners that we may or may not have. Pretty exciting to see a 7th different winner in the 7th race of the series. Very cool to see that. Just goes to show you that we've got a huge strength of field in this division. And we get kicked on to the championship rounds. We run 2 races, take the top 4, and throw those top 4 into a final race with 39 other drivers, and the winner of the championship belt and the free Rent-A-Racecar street stock rental is going to be the winner that finishes the best out of those top 4. So really looking forward to that, and very, very excited to get closer and closer to championship night at Stafford Speedway. That's going to be a fun weekend, and we do want to invite all the fans and drivers and spotters too, everybody involved with SIM500, Vidane Racing, Vidane TV. It's going to be a good time for sure. But taking a quick look on your screen here, the upcoming events, no less than 4 shows a week, all the way through the month of May here in 2021. So kicking off the first half with a great big old bang, and we can pretty much set that thing to a weekly thing and stop changing it. Got some Tim's Corner Motorsports events coming up tomorrow and Monday night. Monday night, you made mention earlier, Tim, we've got the SIM500 Trans Service Cup Series coming on, and Chad Coleman talking about how strong that series is going to be. Tuesday nights, the RBR Maritime Series is running on the 3rd season. They're going to be running race number 2 coming up this week. Wednesday night, we got the doubleheader Tim's Corner Motorsports Weekly Racing Series at Oxford Championship 200 race, and right after that, going to be the Showtime Cup Series at Martinsville. So that's going to be an exciting night. Thursday night, we got the Grand National Series brought to you by Shift Marketing and Design for the NEPS guys and the NEPS Super Truck Friday night. Saturday, we do this SuperSpeedway bit one mo again. But that's going to wrap us up here for the 2DRUNK Esports 149 at Talladega Superspeedway. We're all going to run down to the big red truck. Joey Catina's got the fight on, so we're going to watch Conor McGregor whoop up on Dustin there. So you guys have a great night. We'll catch you on the flip side. We'll see you tomorrow night for the Tim's Corner Motorsports special event.